I've been asked to introduce Pablo Kelly. He's a longer-term survivor for glioblastoma, and he has used metabolic therapy. You heard in my talk on Monday how we now know that cancer is a mitochondrial metabolic disease. It's not a genetic disease. And I think we're going to make major headway in managing and allowing people to live long and healthier when we realize this. And you know, we don't get many long-term survivors for glioblastoma, but Pablo has maintained his compliance, and he's here to give us a little update on the strategy and the issues that he has faced in dealing with this devastating disease.
First off, I'd like to say I'm honoured to have been asked here to speak to you all today. My experience of having a brain tumour has been a unique one, and I am proud to have made it this far following a terminal diagnosis. I was diagnosed in September 2014 following a biopsy, a high-grade and malignant brain tumour, glioblastoma multiforme, of the right parietal lobe, with a tendril delving into my motor cortex. An inoperable tumour, which at the time was a tragedy, and to anyone who has been given this diagnosis, the life expectancy is grim. The future becomes an impossibility. Even with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, the life expectancy is 12 to 15 months. What on earth is a man to do? The only options you are offered is chemotherapy and radiotherapy, both very toxic options from my perspective. I witnessed the effects of chemotherapy on my grandfather as he was dying in hospital due to liver cancer. The memory of that has stuck with me and has driven me to make my choices to fight this disease. I was also brought up with homeopathy and more naturopathic methods during my childhood, so I had knowledge of alternatives to allopathic medicine. I knew there had to be another choice left to me. I researched for days and nights and eventually found the Cancer Active website that had tons of research and alternatives to modern medicine. I came across research showing that glucose feeds cancer, and I sought ways to starve my tumour. I eventually got in touch with the charity Matthew's Friends and spoke to the dietitian Sue Wood. She helped me come up with my macros and ways of combating my disease using nutrition. I also got in touch with Patricia Daly, who had written some very good recipe books that gave me a head start on what to eat and how to do this high-fat, low-carb diet. I also found an organization in America called Nutritional Solutions, run by a Dr. Wallace, an expert in nutritional oncology. They analyzed a panel of my blood work and gave me a list of supplements to help balance any imbalances in my body. I had also, at the beginning, decided to follow the chemoradiation route and went to have my radiotherapy mask measured to my head. As I was about to have my test run on the machine, I had a sudden surge of fear. I wanted to know whether this would actually help me. I asked to speak to my oncologist. I asked her whether this would cure me. She told me that there was no answer to that question. It would certainly extend my lifespan, but by how long, she couldn't say. That, to me, told me what I was going to do. I was going to place all my bets on this ketogenic diet, and I was going to be strict and in control of my own life, my own destiny. One of my main drives was the idea of having a family one day. They tell you that if you are going through chemo and radiotherapy, that you need to bank your sperm to ensure this is still possible, as you may become impotent. Rebecca, my partner, and I had been discussing our future prior to my diagnosis, and we both wanted to have children. Then, when I was diagnosed, this was all put firmly into the background. Our main focus, all right, there's my family. Our main focus was to make me well again. It's horrible to have to put your life on hold, to have to face death, the unknown. Basically, when I was diagnosed, I had no money, I was on benefits, and the only way to raise money to actually treat myself was through GoFundMe. And so far it's helped a great deal because I'm still here. To be labelled disabled due to the effects of having a tumour in your brain, creating epilepsy, and other problems within the body, it makes you feel lesser in some way to those around you. You are seen as a fragile person, someone to be tiptoed around. I saw the change in those around me straight away. I lost a friend due to my choice to not do allopathic medicine. Everyone becomes afraid for you. This may sound strange to some, but I was not afraid. When I chose to take my life into my own hands, it lifted me above my fear and gave me the courage to put every fiber of my being into trusting my own ability to heal. To most people, we must do what we are told is best for us. We never question those directions. We never see an alternative route. I believe you have to make a choice. If you believe you can do something, at least you are making your own choice and not choosing out of fear. Now, I know this doesn't work for everyone. We are all unique. This is my belief, though. It has gotten me through this ordeal. So after trying the ketogenic diet and supplementation and being very strict on the amount of carbohydrates I was eating, I had my MRI scan after 3 months. I got the results, and they were more than promising. Stable disease, no progression of the tumour. I was amazed and ever so happy to know that what I had chosen to do was working. I kept on having stable scans until autumn 2016, when I was told that the tumour was changing shape and progressing slowly. The good news was the fact that a neurosurgeon had looked at my scans and decided that he could perform an awake craniotomy. My once inoperable brain tumour was now operable. After 2 hard years of not knowing if it was all going to be for nothing, I had this small glimpse of hope. I had the operation in March the 7th, 2017. I'd gotten in touch with Professor Thomas Seyfried over the course of my illness, and he gave me great advice about the operation. To remain in ketosis before and after surgery, to maximize my healing potential. To not take the steroids afterwards, as the ketogenic diet would do a similar thing without the negative side effects. It would also speed up my recovery. I remember being put to sleep and then waking up in the theatre with no clue as to where I was or why I was there, and started to cry. The neuropsychologist was at my side and put me at ease. He kept me distracted and ran tests such as me counting backwards from 50 and touching each of my fingers together, naming images on pieces of card. The sensation of being pinned into a fixed position and not being able to move freely while someone is delving inside your head to remove something that could have killed you is bewildering. There are no words to describe the oddity of it all. Once the operation was done, I woke up in recovery. The surgeon came in to tell me how it went. He removed 90% of the tumour, but could not remove that small amount in my motor cortex. It took me 7 days to recover, my girlfriend at my side feeding me eggs and butter in a ketogenic fashion. I had 1 seizure and my jaw was slack and I couldn't speak properly for a long time afterwards. I'm still struggling with that. I persevered though, and for months and months I suffered from mild seizures where I would lose consciousness, but I still persevered. I stuck to the diet, I took my supplements, I never doubted myself. I had Rebecca, always there, always looking after me, always loving me unconditionally. My family was always helping, my friends always donating to my cancer fund. Fellow survivors supporting me from across the globe. Let me cut to the chase. I'm here because of all the people who believed in me and my choices. In August 2017, I had an MRI scan. In September, I went to see my oncologist. She showed me 3 scans, 1 from diagnosis, 1 from pre-awake craniotomy, and 1 from August 2017. There's finally no visual sign of the tumour. The tumour that had plagued my life and cast a shadow over my family and loved ones was not visible. 4 long years and finally a sense of freedom, a sense of achievement. I am here, now, alive. I am alive, and even though I am still suffering from epilepsy and possibly brain damage from my operation, I am still fighting to keep it that way. Not long after the first clear scan, then we found out that I was going to be a father. On June the 29th, 2018, I became one, a father to the most beautiful and happy soul, my little Luna. It's wonderful how life and death come full circle. One day I believed I could die, and 4 years later I find that new life has been granted to me. It has made my will to live and my focus to stay on this path even more resolute. I wish to be a light in the darkness for those who are suffering from this illness. I wish to inspire so many. I hope my life shines as a bright example of living by your own means and your own strength. I wish to thank you all for listening to me. Please, those of you unsure of yourselves, keep on believing and fighting and healing. Thank you.